Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to In the Ladies' Room with Nikki and Michelle. Just waiting for Michelle, of course. But tonight we have an interesting topic. Of course, if you've logged on earlier and got the notification, tonight's show is called Word to the Wise. And we are just going to have a fun discussion about wise words that may have been passed down from generation to generation, maybe from your parents, friends, or just words to the wise that you've heard in passing. So please don't forget to like and share. We're streaming live on Facebook and Periscope, and of course YouTube too. Good evening, Beatrice. Welcome. Before we get into our topic, I just want to again extend my deepest condolences out to the Dye family and also to the family of Lisa Rivas, her family, her children, her mom, and of course the affected family at large, which is the Aspen Place Village. And I thank you all again for watching. Again, hit like and share. We're talking tonight about Word to the Wise. So please don't forget to put your your comments, your questions, and of course your affirmations in. And please, 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 by all means, share with us those nuggets that you've heard throughout the years so we can talk about them. Again, we're waiting for Michelle to come on. This show was inspired by her dad, so I hope that she does come on so she can share her point of view. But again, we're just waiting for her to come on. And while we wait, we just want to again send our condolences out. And I also wanted to hit it again how important it is for us to please remember to continue to wear our masks, wash our hands. COVID is still at an all-time high. It is very scary. We would not want to lose anyone right before we're at the precipice of possibly finding a vaccine that will help us get through this. So please don't forget, wear your mask, wash your hands, and just be diligent about going out and about in public with Corona out. But here she is, the lady herself. Michelle, I was telling the people how this show, tonight's topic was kind of inspired by your dad for me. Because when I thought about Words to the Wise, I always think about that story you told me about your father teaching you how to drive. And when you told your father you had the right of way, because I can imagine in my mind how he said it, because I know how he is. And you said, but Dad, I got the right of way. He's going to say, yes, so many of dead people in the cemetery with the right of way. And so I thought about that, and I thought about all the gems that we hear passed down from generation to generation, and how sometimes they just stick with us. And also, this show is also inspired too by my niece who is about to walk through the door. But how a lot of times we hear people say things and we let them go from one ear to another, and we don't pay them any attention until we get older and we realize, oh, that's what they meant in that saying. So that's what I really wanted to kind of talk about this evening. And before we even chop it up, Michelle, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just going to excuse myself a bit so I could cut this heat down and the noise will go away. But
okay. I think what I will share with the ladies, though, is that, and it sounds like this is the direction that Nikki is going in, is the fact that words are so powerful. And I think that where Nikki is getting this inspiration from, We've had so many conversations. And for those of you that know me and also know my parents, you know, my mom was the ladies. You know, she was elegant and beautiful and like, you know, everything that you would want in a mom. She was definitely the one that we would always talk to. But what was so interesting about growing up with my dad was that, you know, he wasn't so much of a talker, but he would just drop gems. And I think what we experience in life sometimes, and again, I want to remind you that words are so powerful, and that sometimes you could just say something to somebody that could literally, whether it changes their day or changes their life, it carries so much weight. So it just goes to show that you don't have to get into huge conversations. Sometimes just a word will last forever. So, the conversation that Nikki was referencing was when my father was teaching me how to drive. And, you know, I had took the test, right? I had took the test. I had all the answers. I knew everything. I aced my test. And I'm out here in these streets thinking I could do whatever I wanted to do. And I go flying through an intersection. And my dad was like, whoa, you got to slow down. And I was like, no. The book said I had the right of way. And he didn't panic. He didn't go crazy. He just simply turned around and said, okay. Whole lot of people in the graveyard had the right of way. And that was just something that stuck with me. It just stuck with me. Like, you know, it put everything into perspective. So I think the direction that Nikki is trying to go in is, you know, has anybody just dropped a word or said anything to you in your spirit that resonated, that you held close and that you carry along the way? And while I'm here, Nikki, and while I'm talking, and I see that Tina Matthews is on, I keep talking about the little gems that she drops on Facebook. And, you know, people have all these things to say about social media and how, you know, it's so detrimental. But sometimes, if used correctly, you could read something or hear something or see something that really sticks with you, whether it's for the day or the moment or the situation that you may be going through. It's a positive word or whatever it is that you can take and use to make it more productive. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody. Ladies, you tell me what you think. But sometimes people could just say something to you that'll change the whole trajectory of your day or your mood or your thought or your opinion. So that's what it is. So we just here to share those thoughts tonight.
Right. And we're most hoping is that you share yours too. You share your gems as well. So I'll start off with a gem that for me is always, and I think people have heard me say this many times, but my mother, it was one of my mother's most repeated phrases. And she would always say to us, where there's life, there's hope. And the reason that thing sticks with me so much is a lot of people know my mother was a nurse, so she worked with people who were sick. There was one time where she worked at a methadone clinic, and she worked with people who were very badly on drugs. And the thing that I noticed, even in her practice, because she would bring her work home literally, and she would always talk about the hope of people as long as they have breath. You know, there is a chance, you know, it's always a chance for people to get it right, to do better. And that thing has always stuck with me because, and of course, you know that I've, as a social worker, I've had a lot of clients who were real heavily addicted to drugs. And sometimes when people are addicted to drugs, they, you know, they have their, forget relapses and they go back on and off. And people tend to want to give up on them. But you just don't. You hold on to them. My mother had that for my brother, one of my brothers who was heavily on drugs. And she would say, where there's life, there's hope. And thank God he's doing very well now. So as long as there's life, there's always hope, you know, and I hold on to that now, even in the thralls of now ALS. If people don't know, ALS is a deadly disease. Literally, the doctor will let you know it's a very grim diagnosis, and he will tell you when you have the diagnosis that this is a progressive disease that leads to death. And in my mind, I've accepted that. But also accepted the fact that as long as I'm breathing, there's hope. Who knows where the cure is around the corner? Who knows? Everybody reacts differently. So who knows what that means for me? So I always just hold on to my mother saying, where there's life, there's
There's
hope.
hope.
And I'm holding on.
Hold on and see what the end is gonna be. And while we're there, it just reminds me another gem. And many people have said this, right? There's every day that you wake up is just another opportunity to get it right. So it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, how many times you mess up. Every day that we're blessed to wake up is another opportunity to get it right. And I just have to say this though. I was going right there. I was going right there, Nikki. Glory be to God. Sharon died. We love you.
Yes, we do.
So happy to have you here with us tonight. To God be the glory.
Yes.
And sister, just know that I am inspired and I am encouraged by your strength, all that you've been through. And I praise God right along with you right now for being able to just look at you. Even in this picture, just being able to look at you. Our prayers will continue to be with you. We continue to pray for your strength and your recovery, and God is still good. Right. And look, in spite of what you've been through, I have to thank you for your encouragement. Because I follow you on Facebook, and everything that you've been through, we want to lift you up. But guess what? You've been lifting us up. And that's amazing. That's amazing. For all that you've been through, you've been lifting us up. And I don't need to reiterate your story. You know, I think most people know it is what it is, but just know that you are God's child. God is using you. He's still in charge. He's still in control. We know we got to go through some things, and I just want to acknowledge your presence. Yes. And praise God for you being here. So I didn't want to take a major detour, but I'm so happy to see her.
That was a worthy detour.
Yeah, I'm just so happy to see her. So thank God for you. And Sharon, thank God for being here. Bless you. God bless you. I'm still yet in prayer for God to be a hedge around you and your whole entire family. We haven't forgotten about you, but thank you. Thank you for being obedient. Thank you for being submissive to his word and his encouragement. And I just need to be the one to tell you that it's not going unnoticed. We see you, we hear you, we feel you, and thank you for your encouragement. We want to be that fence around you.
That's right. Because where there's life, there's hope.
Where there's life, there's hope.
COVID is over. Because you know what I see? Sharon, I know this might seem a little funny, but I really see that, you know, Sharon got a ministry in her. And you know what that ministry is? Hugs. I ain't never had a hug better than the hug that I get from Sharon. I swear. She got a hug ministry going on. And so when this is all said and done, glory be to God, I can't wait to see her again.
Wait, and it's so funny, right? Because we talk about the word or just, you know, sometimes you don't realize the impression that it makes. Here's what I remember. The Dye sisters always called my mother Miss Dot. And I don't know why I can't remove that. That was Miss Dot. Miss Dot. Miss Dot. And that resonates with me. And it may seem like not really much of anything, but it was a connection. It was a connection that was made. And you make a profound You make a profound point, Nikki, because I think that people, when they think about ministry, they think, oh, you got to be in a pulpit. You got to be up in some prominence. No, some of the best ministry is made in the form of a simple hug or a simple word or just the love and concern that you show from one another. Sometimes, actually, in my opinion, that's the best ministry of all. Because it's not superficial, it's not pretentious, right? It is what it is. And when you encounter a genuine person, you feel that, and so that's what you continue to carry with you. So it's important that we talk about this. Sometimes just dropping a word in somebody's spirit could make all the difference in the world.
Right. So I'm hoping that tonight's show will drop some words, that you guys will share your words and share your experiences, share those gems that have been passed down to you. Because, like Michelle said, you never know what it is that will touch somebody's life. And ministry is not always given from a pulpit or by a pastor or a preacher. It could be given by, for me, I think that, and I know I've said this before, to me, the way in which you live your life is a prayer and a praise to God. And so the way you treat people, the things that you do in your everyday life, even when people are not looking, but especially when people look, and how you make people feel. Maya Angelou had that saying that it's not important what you say, it's how you make people feel. And that's what the hope is, that even at this particular broadcast is a ministry and making people feel better. So
yeah, I love this. I'm glad you pulled this up. That's called a ministry without walls.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's what's powerful, because I think that oftentimes we are confined to a parameter of what we believe a ministry is. Exactly. But to your point, a ministry is the life that you live, the example that you set, right? The love that you give. And that's what it's all about. That's what really reaches people. That's what connects with people.
Mm-hmm. Can you read that one?
My great grandma Stoney always said, if you have your health, you have everything.
Yes.
My God. It has never rang more true than now in 2020. That's for sure.
Yes. Yep.
That's for sure. Because we're now in a situation where we see firsthand. You could have all the money in the world. You could have all the intelligence in the world. You could have all the resources in the world. But if you're not healthy, it doesn't mean anything.
It don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean a thing. It's so funny, because when you think about that, and you think about all the things you grabbing for in life, you want this, you want that, and cars and everything. Like, I love my little car. I like my freedom. I like to get around. I like to drive. And this year was really, really heart-wrenching for me, because I literally had to give my car away because I was told that I could not drive anymore. And I really couldn't. I mean, I was sneaking. Even after I was told I couldn't, I was sneaking a little bit. But I got to the point when I realized that this is not happening.
It wasn't safe.
It wasn't safe. So I had to give my car away. So all of these things that we think that we have to have, trust me, when you don't have your health, they don't even matter. You don't even think of it. Like I told you guys last week, to come here and chat with you guys, it's like the highlight of my week. Otherwise, I'm in pajamas at all times.
Yeah.
So, even the thought of just buying a new dress or a new this, it doesn't matter. And the thing is, the funny thing about with COVID being present, I think everybody gets to feel a little bit of that right now. That what good is buying a new pair of shoes, new lipstick, new this? You can't even really go anywhere for it anyway. So if you would just read the next one for me.
Right. My granny always said, if you have your health, you have everything. I will never forget it. R.I.P. Granny Stoney.
Yep.
So it sounds like she was kind of piggybacking off of Chanel. But I really think that 2020 has been full of lessons, hasn't it? Like it's really pushing us to a place where we have to honestly put things in perspective.
Right.
And if I'm being honest and transparent, I really think that's God's intention. He was just like, look, y'all lost sight of what was really important.
Mm-hmm.
What was really important and what was really relevant. Shanu said, "You're a beautiful soul, Nikki."
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Shanu. And so, yeah, these gems that we trying to put out here, they really are relevant right now.
Oh, for sure. Nikki Ward, sweetie, your family and my family came up together as family. The love we all had was unbelievable. I'm here to tell you, we all was one big family. I feel like that was the PJs.
That's the project.
That was APP.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was APP. I have to say that's one of the things that I still cherish, and to some degree that I miss. When I look back and I think about, you know, where I came from, that was one experience that I could never ever change. Those people that was in our lives, when I look back, oh my God, it was just the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
It was the bomb. Some people might look at growing up in the projects as a negative, but oh my God, baby, if you didn't have this opportunity, you missed out. You missed out. You talk about family. You talk about fun. You talk about laughter. You talk about love.
The subject, but I have to say it because you're there. So we organically go where the conversation takes us. So you're talking about the love of the APP, and right now I have Patricia Ann Dory's photo up, and so you know we're friends on Facebook. And yesterday my brother was promoted to captain of the in the fire department.
Go Bart. Go Bart. Go Bart.
But anyway, when I was putting up the pictures and he was telling me to tell everybody thank you because he's not on Facebook. And she said something, congratulations or something, whatever. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but she said Bosco. So when she said Bosco, I said, oh, she got to be family because only we know that that's his nickname. That is Bosco. But that's a thing that will only be in the Rutherfords will know that, and people who grew up in the projects, because nobody knew that we called Bart Bosco. So it's
so funny. It's so I have to go back. So it's so funny you say that, right? Because nobody but the Dyes consistently said Dorothy Brickhouse. As my sister's post comes up, they always called her Miss Dorothy Brickhouse, because they were close enough to know that that was her maiden name. But all right, Doris, so at Landy, this is for you. As long as you learn from your experience and do not make or take the same path, you'll get through it and be a better person, right? So I think the point, and Doris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the point is you have to kind of take some of these gems to heart, right? You have to process them and see the meaning behind it. So that's a beautiful thing.
I think that kind of almost like lends its way to one of the ones that I had down here as a gem that I always got from. This is a gem that my mother didn't say this often, but it did stick with me. And this is what I always say to my son more so than anything, is that you can learn from somebody else's experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the reasons that was always big for me that growing up, my uncles were on drugs as well. You know, thank God they clean. He's cleaned himself up. One of them has passed, but I always remember that being such a horrific experience for my family, that is what kept me from drugs. Like nobody could talk me into doing drugs because that memory was etched in my mind. So that saying, that gem of, you know, learning from somebody else's experience was always ever present with me. And that I taught that to my son. You know, all the things that I've done in my life that may not have been great, you don't have to do them. You saw how they worked out for me. So don't go through those experiences to although some people they got to have their own experience, so that it is what it is. But for me, that's a gem.
And I think that's important to recognize, right? There are certain situations where um you know we're talking about gems, and we're talking about those moments when you have those deliveries into your spirit. But there's also those situations or circumstances where people have to go through certain things on their own. But I think what's most impactful and what's so interesting is that, there's something that resonates when you hear something so powerful, and whether you care to acknowledge it in the moment or not, it's always something that sticks out in the back of your mind. And that's how you kind of sort of know it's a gem, right? Because even now, every now and then, because in my spirit, I'm still a speed car driver, right? But every now and then you find that
you drive very well, girl.
I do drive well. But I think that's part of it, right? I think that's part of it. I think there's a part of me that still reaches back and realizes that, I still need to be mindful, because regardless to how well I drive, going back to my father's gym, there's a whole bunch of, well-intended drivers in the graveyard, because one wrong move could change that outcome. And that's what you get from the gym. It was a very literal example, but what you get from it is the fact that, your intentions may be great, but you also need to be mindful and watchful of other people's intentions, because that could turn out to be something very different for you. And so that was the ultimate takeaway. So these gems that get imparted in us is something that really, kind of sticks with you. It sticks to your gut, so to speak. And you find yourself in situations where you carry it through life. And then you also find yourself in situations where you see that it resonates in other situations, right? And so you start to think about, oh, yeah. Another thing my father used to always say, I heard this from my father before anybody else. It's 3 sides to every story: your side, their side, and the truth. And I was like, what are you talking about, Dad? Like, why are you making this stuff up? And then as you get older, you realize exactly what he was talking about, right? Exactly what. Well, another thing my father always used to tell me: people only tell you what they want you to know.
Right.
And you don't realize that until you get older and you start having certain experiences. And it's right. People position things the way that they want you to know it. And when you understand that, you can receive it and you can accept it and you can move on. Right. Because it is what it is.
And those kinds of gems give you the spirit of discernment in some ways.
Absolutely.
Read my
Absolutely.
Comment.
One thing that resonates with me: people don't care about what you know unless they know you care.
That is dead on, especially when you're talking about things within the civil rights, or if you're trying to help somebody. All those kinds of things matter, because if I think that you're just doing it for some kind of show, or for whatever reason that has no real benefit to me or to the people you're trying to work with, why bother? You know what I mean? You really need to show people that you care about what you're doing before you do it. One of my pet peeves is, people who do things for you and then they do it and they don't put any real, they just do it because they have to do it, or it's just haphazardly done. They don't put no real joy. You gotta put love in it. That's put it that way. It's just like cooking. When you don't feel, when you don't feel like cooking, and you cook anyway,
and you just throw something together,
it's horrible. But when you really put yourself into it, it come out perfect all the time.
Look, put Doris's post up. She said Tracy gave Bart that name Bosco.
She sure did. She did.
Who is Tracy?
Tracy Belton. Well, what's Tracy's maiden name? Because it's not Belton.
I don't know. That was before my
You know
time.
Tracy. No, it's not. Tracy and them down on the problem. Leslie Watson's sister, big sister. Leslie and Crystal.
McGriff?
Yeah, McGriff. There you go. That's the one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
say that then.
Tracy
She said Tracy gave part that name Bosco.
She
Tracy
used to
loved that
babysit us
baby.
when we was kids. Yeah.
I remember that.
Mhm.
Okay.
She sure did.
So go to Martina. Martina said the projects was the truth.
I can't wait. I can't. Are you going faster than?
She right under Doris. She right under Doris.
Wait a minute. Did I highlight Doris? Okay.
Yeah, Doris is on the screen right now.
Okay,
so the projects was the truth. Community. There has not been anything like it. No, it hasn't. I lived in the burbs in rural Georgia, but nothing compares to the experience I had growing up in the projects. We did so much together. You don't even know, like the people around us growing up, like they was more like family. Like it wasn't a blood thing, but it felt like family. It felt like family. Look at here go my grandfather. Look at Crystal. You better work. Okay, she giving us supermodel vibes in that picture. Never forget the people you came in contact with in the beginning of your life because they will always remain a part of you. That's true.
So true.
That is so true. That is so true. Where we at?
Tracy was his godmother. Barton in now back there.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, where we at? So Doris, Sharon, I love you, girl. Those projects were no joke. Our families took care of each other. Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
It was crazy how like everybody knew everybody looked out for each other. You always knew that you was from the PJs. They had your back.
And when I used to live in the projects and I would go grocery shopping, and you know my grocery shopping. Soon as I got open my van door, I never carried groceries, and I lived on the 8th floor. I never carried groceries to my door. No.
Why?
Because all of the kids, Boulder, somebody would carry them groceries up. I never carried groceries to my door.
Let me tell you something. You will have the baddest kids in the neighborhood. But when they saw my mother, they straightened up. How you doing, Miss Brown? How you doing, Miss Brown? How you doing, Miss Brown? How you doing, Miss Brickhouse? You know, that was dope. That was dope. Wait, go back to Crystal. We were always family. Spear Village was definitely a village of love. Oh my God, without question. Loved it. Loved it. I don't actually think I would be the person that I am and have the strength and the compassion that I have without APP, Spear Village, 11 Aspen Place, whatever you want to call it. All right, go to Landy.
Okay.
Auntie, that reminds me of another gem. My daddy used to tell me all the time, just keep having birthdays.
Ooh,
Ain't that it?
Ain't that it? Yep.
Just keep having birthdays. Just keep waking up. Just keep doing it until you get to the next level. That's it.
Doris is concurring. Read that one.
Doris Brickhouse says, Lord knows that's the truth, and I am never going to forget when your daughter was born and I had to go see her every day. Thanks for all the love you showed me back in the day. This is family. This is like a family reunion.
So we just changed the direction of the show.
Exactly, because we just getting together, especially cooking. What you talking about, Robin?
And the funny thing about this, like Martina's talking about her experience as well in the project. It's not the same projects. She didn't grow up in the projects that we grew up in. But anywhere where you find us, there is going to, and we're living together, we are going to find a way to create community, to love on each other, to be with each other, know each other. That's just how we are. Even like I always think about the stories. See, now I didn't grow up in the projects. When I was born, I think maybe a couple of months after I was born, my grandparents had bought a house on Henry Street and we moved out. But my mother, my and her brothers and sisters literally grew up in the projects. And one of the stories that I'm sure that somebody on here could kind of confirm that used to stick with me all the time, because I used to get a kick out of them telling this story about some lady named Miss D who was real mean.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Who don't remember Miss D?
So they used to tell that story all the time, how they would mess with her and everything.
Poor Miss D. I used to feel sorry for her. I really did, because the kids would knock on her door and run, and then she would come answer and look for people outside. Everybody remember Miss D. Come on. Everybody remember Miss D just like they remember Thunder.
Thunder.
The dog they used to, I was scared of Thunder. And as a matter of fact, I think that was Jimmy's grandmother dog, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I don't remember, but I know Thunder bit my husband.
Okay. Everybody knew Thunder. Mm-hmm. Look, Robert said, yes, Miss D. I was scared of her. Everybody remember, Doris said she lived in was it 2D or 5D? I know it was a D apartment. I think that's how she got the name, Miss D.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
It was definitely a D apartment. So here's what's so interesting to me, right? So we talking about perspective, and we talking about gems, and we talking about all the things that got imparted in us. And so, for somebody who wasn't familiar, for somebody on the outside looking in, they would potentially look at us like, oh, you poor things, you grew up in projects. Mm-hmm. What they don't know, honey, what they say, don't cry for me, Argentina, because that was some of the best experience. Honestly, if I'm being honest, if I could go back, I think I would. Mm-hmm. I really think I would. There was something about that connection.
But you kind of wanted to be all the same people, though.
Oh, for sure.
For sure, right?
For sure, because there was an essence there. There was a feeling of camaraderie. There was a feeling of family. There was a feeling of love. Everybody looked out for each other. You always felt safe. You always felt protected. Somebody said, I can't remember where it is, but I remember saying you used to be able to leave your doors open, right? First of all, the Ward's house, I don't think it was ever locked. I can legitimately remember walking into the Ward's house and there wasn't a soul in that apartment. And I would just kind of leave and be like, oh, okay, nobody home. But they didn't worry about it because they knew ain't nobody going in there, ain't nobody gonna bother them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. It was just like a whole. So what did Paulette say? My mom would say, treat people the way you want them to treat you.
Exactly. That's a big one.
So Paulette, you're right. But I have to say I've also evolved.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me.
I've also evolved a little bit, right? Because that's what we refer to as the golden rule, right? Treat people like you want them. Treat people as you want them to treat you. But here's the thing. I've elevated to the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is treat people how they want to be treated. Because what I understand is that not everybody needs everything.
Good. Right. I never thought of it that way, but yes.
Some people really need a lot more than others. And so it would require that you take the time to get to really know people and understand what it is that they need. Because not everybody needs everything. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So there's that.
Look at Crystal letting all the secrets out.
Look, and my sister Tracy called Evan Duck.
That's my oldest brother. That's his nickname, Duck. So thanks to Tracy, I have the most normal nickname because Nikki is my nickname. Everybody knows Nikki is not my given name. That's my. They don't
know you as Cheryl.
They don't know me as Cheryl unless they went to school with me or worked with me. So my mother said, I'm going to call you Nikki because
Wait,
You
I'm sorry,
always
Nikki.
crazy
I
with
have to look at Vanessa talking about cleaning and waxing the floor because you know my mother and father kept the sixth floor
Wait, we didn't get there yet. Wait, I got so much
sparkling.
more to go through.
Okay, go back. Okay, go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
remember it now.
I'm getting too
Yeah.
excited. I'm
You're
getting
getting
too
too excited.
excited.
Go on ahead. Okay, because I want you to read this one.
Miss Fanny, 95, only said this to me one time. If everyone washes their own dish, there will never be any dishes in the sink.
Ooh, good one.
I will never forget that because it resonated on a level beyond dishwashing to me. Because it wasn't about the dishes.
No, it's about taking responsibility for yourself.
I can't.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna go past that one. Oh, yep. That was back on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to get through your comments. They come in.
I know, because they coming fast and furious, right? We
read
struck
that.
a nerve tonight. We struck a nerve. Yes, they did, Michelle. They always respect. Yeah, they did. I mean, people in the projects, they always, my parents were quiet and reserved, but they got the most respect.
Yeah.
I used to be mad at my mama for not. Bye, Landy. Your last name Hayes.
Oh,
That
wait,
was
getting the quarter. Yep.
that was a hustle for us as kids waiting to get that quarter.
Um,
I don't know no quarter because I was at the daycare.
Oh, so you couldn't help nobody up with the groceries?
I was like this at the daycare. You know, the story is they called my mother in and was like, you know, Miss Brown, Michelle will be starting college next week. I think it's time for her to not be enrolled in daycare. No, I'm only playing. I'm just messing with y'all. But it was kind of sort of along those lines. Like I was probably a
Almost
teenager
in high school.
and still in daycare.
Read Nicole.
Because my big sister Doris didn't want to babysit me. She was doing her own. Look, I'm putting you, Doris. I'm putting you on blast because she didn't want to watch me. Nicole Willis. Those of us who lived outside the projects always hung in the projects for its fun camaraderie. Yeah, of course, we was family.
Well, we are still family, and as a matter of fact, shout out to my sponsor tonight too. I'm just saying,
who your sponsor?
Because they project people too. My sponsor tonight is Abuela. So Miss Mabel Greer made me this big pot of the Russian tea because I've been.
Oh, how you get Russian tea and nobody else don't get Russian tea?
Don't be jealous. I got me a pot of Russian tea, and I'm feeling better already. But I ain't gonna tell you what else I got. But but I say that to say the love that come from the projects is unmatched. Like this lady has love for everyone, and it is felt. It's felt love. Like I said before, who cares what you say about anything if when people are around you, they don't feel the love, they don't feel positive presence. So that's what I'm hoping that we get back to as a people, period. Because it don't matter where you live at. If wherever you live at, you're just being a ball of negativity, it won't matter. But I digress. Go ahead. Let's go back to the comments.
No, I need to go back to why I made you Russian tea and nobody else.
Don't start because I was sick. Don't start, Michelle. Don't start.
She gonna have to make me something. I don't know what it is
my
yet.
girlfriend asked her to do it for me now.
Because I'll be calling her right after we get off this phone. But anyway.
I started trouble. Oh, Lord. But that's my sponsor. I'm just letting you know that's my sponsor.
Look, my sister said my mother used to get mad because she let me get dirty. I've been a princess since way back. I wish I could know what other people thought about me as a kid.
They didn't see you. You was at the daycare.
I was at the daycare, but I was a princess.
You was at the daycare as a princess. Nobody noticed except the people in the daycare.
How about Kim and Stacey Hillier got beat up from Miss D on the elevator
What a game.
with a broom? She said,
Wait,
"Why, Kim? Why Miss D beat you with a broom, Kim? What was you doing? Oh my God, the fun time." Does anybody remember when we used to play dodgeball in the playground? Remember the barrels?
remember the barrel. I remember the barrels.
Oh my God, I can't take y'all right now. Your brothers Bosco and Evan took you at about 1 or 2 from your house on Henry Street and came to the projects by themselves
It wasn't me, Crystal. It was Markel. They stole Markel. I don't know why they took Markel, but they stole Markel and ran away to the project. I don't know why they did that, but they wanted to come move with Tracy. They didn't want to live with my mother no more.
Oh my God. They ran away?
Yeah, to Tracy's house. Yes. Yep.
I remember coming to Building 19 to play with Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that.
Around the corner from me, and then we really got to play more often.
I can't take y'all.
Age. I think I might be a year older than Leslie.
I can't take y'all.
But see those connections that were made down in the projects, and even though most of us still don't live down there anymore, these are still connections that's lifetime connections. Yeah, who you got now?
I'm laughing at Kim. She said Stacy knocked on her door and ran back in the elevator. Girl, she caught that door. Paperwork closed. It was hot for me. That's what y'all get for messing with Miss D.
Wait, did I do this one already?
She said it to me, and as I was washing the dishes and complaining.
Oh, that
LOL. Oh, that was about the dishwashing.
Comment, yeah.
But to me, it definitely was bigger than just dishing.
I'm far behind. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was my sister talking about how my mother would get mad because she would let me get dirty.
Yeah, see, I'm behind. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up, ladies, but it's just trying to catch up with the comments.
Food, fun, family, and camaraderie. I remember what and I used to have, like, the Greer's house was bomb. Like, everybody was at the Greer's house. And I used to be like, how does she feed all these people? But she did. And still does.
Mm-hmm.
And still does.
Cheesecake for me. I kind of missed where that might have been. I'm sorry. I'm so behind with the comments, guys. But
all right, you catching up.
Catching up here. Okay, yeah, I'm catching
This was the one I was laughing at. Stacey Hillier knocked on her door and ran back in the elevator. Y'all used to do Miss D dirty. And I don't know.
She had to be really old, though, because for my uncle and them to remember her as being old.
She was? Oh, she was old when we was kids.
She was old. Y'all messing with that old lady. What?
Yeah.
Okay, so how about another gym? More is less.
What about it?
It's a gym. That's just one of the words to the wise.
What did you get from that?
You don't want the story that I got from it. So when I thought about putting that on as one of my gyms, I remember the time when I was in high school, right? My mother used to fuss at me all the time because you know I thought I was growing in high school, right? So I had my boyfriend who was out of high school, and I thought I was cute.
Who didn't think they was grown in high school? Well, I didn't, because I was a late bloomer.
I used to sneak and wear makeup or, all kinds of fresh stuff and high heels. I got these high heels from my cousin Jamie that I would hide from my mother. She didn't know about them. And I would wear them to high school. And then one time my mother I don't know how she knew about this, but she knew about it. Remember the bubblegum skirts back in the day? They used to be real tight fitting on the body, but they kind of like elasticity.
Oh, yeah.
They were long too. It wasn't like it was a short skirt.
Well, they was like knee length.
But they was very tight fitting. They could show every inch of your body. And so I had one and I snuck it in my book bag. And when I got to school, I changed. Somebody must have called them. I changed and put that skirt on, you couldn't tell me nothing. And here come my mother walking through the door, with clothes for me to change into. I was so embarrassed. And then she would say to me, "You always walking around here trying to, dress
provocatively." Right.
She said, "Don't you know less is more? Give somebody," and this was her saying, if she said less is more, the next phrase that came is leave something to the imagination. So those were gems that I kind of always remember her saying to me, because back in high school, I was a mess.
Okay, but that's something that we need to bring back.
What?
Because if I see one more thong or one more butt crack or one more person trying to accentuate their curve, I mean, it's nothing wrong with wanting to perfect your body. Like, I get that part, but everything is out. Everything is out. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm old school, maybe it's just my mentality, but a little something left to the imagination is so much more attractive than just being naked and bearing your soul for the world to see. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I think that comes with I don't know. As a matter of fact, Robin, says she did the same thing with her daughter. And I think one of the things that, you don't think about, I mean, we as kids, we all want to try because our friends are trying and, you want to be a part of your peer group. But I think that as I got older, and not even necessarily out of high school older, I just started to realize that what my mother was saying was true. And the reason I realized that is because I saw that modeled. I saw my mother never dressed provocatively, and she always looked so stunning. My grandmother, who might have been almost at least 250, 275 pounds, was a big woman. So, of course, she didn't dress provocatively, but my grandmother was sharp as a tack all the time. So, like with Robin, when I see her all the time, she's always dressed so beautifully, like a lady. But I think the problem is with the kids nowadays is they don't see that model.
Wait, which Robin you talking about? Your sister or our girlfriend?
Our girlfriend, Robin. And I think that because the young generation don't see, and I think partially it's because the 50 and 60-year-olds running around here thinking they 20 now, so they want to wear, what the 20-year-olds are wearing. So the 20-year-olds don't get to see real, true elegance the way we saw it, back in the day. I was watching with my niece, if anybody watches the Lovecraft Country, and I was watching it. It's kind of a period piece. And back in the day, the black people, everything they wore was just so beautiful. Of course, you're not going to be dressed like that now. It's not even comfortable to be dressed the way they was dressing all the time. But it was so classic and classy. And to some degree, I wish that people would bring that back.
What changed? How did we get here?
That little flower child era where people just wanted to be free and experience different things. I think that kind of opened the door for it. Women's lib, all of that kind of opened the door for it.
Right. So we need to do that show. I know you talked about we talked about it offline. I don't mean to throw it out there, but we all transparent, right? We was talking about appropriate dress.
Nicole, yeah, that's true. TV.
And we said that, we wanted to do a show even around that. And I don't know. It's just something to be said about that. I think there's a lot of contributions to that. I think, yes, that whole women's live thing, and I'm going to be free to do whatever I want. I think TV, social media also has a lot to do with it. But I also think that there's a level of, and it may sound extreme, but I also think there's a level of desperation in there, right? I need to catch somebody's attention. Everybody is so desperate to be, whether it's TikTok famous, Instagram models, or whatever. I think everybody's trying to conform to to meet a certain standard, whatever that looks like, and totally getting away from not only who they are, but what's decent, and
So,
understanding that.
so when you say that, though, you say that there's a level of desperation, but the sad part about it is the level of desperation is also followed by a bit of I had the word right there in my mind when you was talking, but it's also a little bit of lack of self-esteem.
Oh, for sure. Because you believe you can't get there on your own merit. So I got to show some ass. I got to show some, chest. I got to show some. Listen. There's a difference between being sexy and being trashy.
Exactly.
And oftentimes I feel like what we see has crossed the line. It just crosses the line. And so that's where that whole self-esteem comes into play, right? Because now you want to start to question, like, why do you feel it necessary to go to this length to be half naked to get somebody's attention? And ask yourself, is that the question that you want?
Right. Well, Paulette kind of hit it on the head too with these reality shows, because I think that our kids are not poured into in a certain way where they really have a discernment between reality, what is real and what is not real. And they don't realize that a lot of these so-called reality shows are really scripted shows. And
they really are.
People are going over the top for the cameras, but that's not really how they all live their lives. But these kids who are coming up without guidance don't understand that. They don't. I never forget when I was working doing counseling, and I had this young lady, and I mean she was dead serious, who told me her whole program about how she was going to make money, that she was going to start off stripping and then try and get herself a little reality show. And I'm thinking to myself, she was watching, what's the other one with the
Cardi B?
No, not Cardi B, because this was before Cardi B. What's the other one? Who she was married to the Stevie guy or whatever, I think.
Oh, Jocelyn.
Yes, her life. When she told me that, literally, I knew that entire script was Jocelyn's script, and my heart literally broke for her, because it was like there was no talking her out of it. It was the only way she saw for her. And literally at the time she was stripping. So, but she saw no other way. So these reality shows are really, really, really screwing our girls up royally, because they're not really understanding that kind of life and what that kind of life leads to.
I'm so frustrated because we're literally 2 minutes away from ending.
Okay, so read Nicole's because it's so big. I don't want to be able to put it.
All right, there's a photo of us from back in the day. Us meaning you guys. There's a photo from back in the day of us at a club, and we were dressed so ladylike in outfits that one wouldn't consider as quote unquote club attire. And the attention we received even then confirms inappropriate dressing is not necessary to get the attention you seek wearing inappropriate clothing. Let me see if I can find the pic.
I know exactly what picture you're talking about, Nicole, because you know why I know what picture you're talking about. And I'm not laughing at you. It's just the suit that Nicole had on. She had this sharp leather suit on.
Well, Nicole stays sharp.
She stays sharp.
And I'm not trying to put you on blast, but Nicole, one of the things that I was always most impressed with was when you would tell stories about how you go to all these different places, up to and including thrift shops. And have the sharpest outfit. It like just goes
$7 brown outfit she had on.
Oh, it just goes to show you, as the commentator, I forget what his name was at all of TA's fashion shows. It's not what you wear, it's how you style it.
Cass.
Okay, a Cass, yes.
what you wear.
It's not what you wear, it's how you style it. It's not what you, whatever he would say. But it just goes to show you that really being sexy and attractive is more of an essence than a look. It really is. And I think that's the mark that a lot of people miss. It's not about you showing your whole entire body, but it's about the confidence that you exude. It's about the security that you exude that makes you attractive. I don't know how our kids miss that. But here we go, Angela. Right, Nikki, because my mom and my granny was so classy, they stayed sharp, but I took my own path and like to have sexiness. I just love sexy clothes. Once my daughter turned 27, I gave her my clothes out of my closet that I wore when I was 27, and she loved them. Listen, nobody's stopping you from being sexy, but you also have to know that it doesn't mean, and Angela, hit us up and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to also know that it doesn't mean you have to share everything to get attention. Shainu said, if we don't program our youth, then something or someone else will. Oh, girl, you said that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The streets will.
Yes.
The streets will.
Streets are waiting. It's every time we really get into it, it's time to go.
I know. Oh my God. And this was another mashup. This turned out to be another mashup because we came on to talk about one thing. But here's what I love about how organic our conversations are, right? Because we get on talking about one thing and it's like we're literally having a conversation in person. If you ever have a conversation in person, right, you start off talking about one thing and it might veer off into something else. And so that's why we love you guys, and that's why we appreciate the conversations that we get to have on Thursday night. We look forward to getting together and just mashing it up with you and keeping in touch and just having fun. Good, bad, or indifferent. We miss you guys. A whole week goes by and we don't know what's going on with you until we get back together on Thursday nights. Sharon, to God be the glory. I can't say that enough. To God be the glory. It's so good to see you. Beatrice, thank you for being here, keeping us posted, keeping us updated. We continue to lift you up. God got you. God got you. Don't ever forget that. To all my other sisters that chimed in tonight, we love you. We miss you. Tracy, hey Tracy. Hey Tracy. All our good girlfriends are here. And we love you guys. We love being able to get together with you. Nikki, I'm not trying to go over, but you know how I start bubbling over. When I get with my good girlfriends. We miss you guys so much. Nikki, go ahead.
So we just want to just say again, thank you so much for staying with us for this more than an hour now. Because we realize that you could be doing any other thing with your time and you chose to hang out with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your questions. And of course, we appreciate all of your affirmations. We thank you and we look forward to hearing from you and sharing with you next week. And as a final gem, I would like to leave one of my favorite scriptures, which is Romans 8:28. All things work to the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose.
According to his purpose. God is in control. He's always in control. In spite of what we go through, in spite of what we deal with. And I know it gets hard sometimes. I myself have moments, but then I have to reel back, and I have to remember, for those women of faith that I know are on this screen, we have to go back. God is still in control. The devil is busy. The devil is busy, and he's a liar, and he's a liar, and his whole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. And the more powerful we become, the more we get in his word, the more he tries to destroy us. But the devil is a liar, and we're going to prove him. We're going to take him down. We're
Yes.
going to take him down. And so for everybody that's here, that's been going through things, we all have. We've been praying for each other and trying to lift each other up. We got each other. The thing is, we have to stay connected. We have to stay in God's way. We have to stay in his favor. We have to stay in his word and know that the devil is a freaking liar. He won't win. He can't win.
Can't win.
He can't win. And we gonna lift God up because we gonna continue to give him the highest praise, right? We gonna continue to show that we are his people, we are his daughters, and we are blessed. And so, listen, I ain't come here to preach, but when there's a word in your spirit, there's a word in your spirit, and we have to continue to lift God up. There's some people that's going through, and we have to just make sure that we give God all the honor and the praise in spite of. And then when we get to the other side, we know that it's to God be the glory. And so that's it. Nikki, I'm done.
I'm done too. I'm really not done, but I have to go. I love you all, ladies.
We love you guys. Thank you for showing up.
And I also wanted you to know as we part today that I know that I used to go through and like all the comments and read all the comments, and I still read them, but my fingers are not working as well as they used to. So to like all the comments, and it's so many, as I haven't been doing it, but trust and believe, I'm reading them, I'm loving them, and I'm so grateful and thankful that you guys not only hang out with us, but you participate in the discourse. And again, I can't ask for anything more. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We will see you next week on God Willing and the Creek Don't Rise.
God willing and the creek don't rise. Be good to yourself.
Yes, be good to yourself.
Robin